2025-26, our funding came in 4 ring-fenced blocks. Schools funding, at £483 million, comes directly from government grants and is ring-fenced for education. Housing, at £104 million, is funded through tenants' rent and covers council housing. Capital, at £34 million, is used for long-term investments like land development, roads, infrastructure projects and heritage sites such as Drury Wall. And the General Fund, also known as Revenue, at £438 million, covers the rest of our running costs. 2/3 of this is spent on social care, reflecting the scale of support we provide to residents. To recap, our budget plan set out in February was to use reserves to bridge the immediate budget gaps, to reduce the capital programme, to hold down costs in social care and homelessness, and to make savings of £23 million to reduce the budget gap. Even with this plan, our expenditure would still be higher than annual income. The National Fair Funding consultation was released over the summer and looked at the distribution of funding across local government. We've modelled our draft budget using the consultation, and while the revised funding formula is positive and will help, the extra funding won't be enough to close our gap. Current estimates still show a shortfall of £15 million next year, rising to £44 million in year 3. We are expecting an improved final settlement in December, but it won't change our overall position. We are still spending more than we receive in income. We must therefore continue with our budget strategy to close the underlying gap. Our aim is to continue to move towards a sustainable long-term position, and we can report significant success to this end. We are investing in service change and improvements which generate greater efficiencies and better outcomes for people. For example, to address the ever-increasing pressures of homelessness, we have invested over £45 million to secure 253 new, good quality, temporary homes and 100 permanent leases. This has resulted in a 93% decrease in families staying in unsuitable B&Bs and hotels for more than 6 weeks, thereby making huge savings on expensive temporary accommodation as well as improving living standards. Our new temporary homes are designed to meet people's immediate needs and support their well-being. While there, people are also given specialist advice and support to ensure that they are in a good position to maintain a tenancy in future, avoiding them becoming homeless again. We have also expanded our homelessness prevention team, who can support residents to stay in their homes and prevent evictions. So the investment is making lives better as well as keeping costs lower than they would have been otherwise. In adult social care, we've introduced several targeted projects to ensure people get the right care that supports their independence. We have reviewed double-handed care to reduce the need for 2 carers, encouraged wider use of transport options instead of commissioned transport, and created a quality in care team to ensure high-cost services deliver the right outcomes. These projects are helping to lower average care costs and promote greater independence. This in turn limits future growth in care costs, as well as giving people the right care for them, preserving independence and supporting a good quality of life. We have been working with people to increase their independence at home, extending reablement support after hospital discharge to reduce the need for long-term care and increase independence. Overall, our transformation work is helping more adults to get the right support at the right time and building more strongly connected communities. Families First is a national programme adopted in Leicester to transform children's social care. Children will experience consistent relationship-based support from trusted professionals, parents and carers will have a continuity of support and only need to tell their story once. In addition, the workforce will be better integrated with our communities. The aim is to keep more children safely at home, reduce reliance on crisis intervention and high-cost placements, and to improve outcomes through coordinated preventative support. The examples given show how our financial decisions on these essential services have translated into positive changes for people and communities in Leicester. This, in turn, should reduce our financial burden in the future. So, these are significant success stories, improving lives while slowing the growth in costs. However, costs are still rising. The budget gap is caused by our income being lower than expenditure each year. Our latest forecasts show spending rising to £478 million in 2026-27 against an income of £463 million. That leaves a gap of £15 million, much improved from the £46 million forecast earlier this year. But pressures remain, especially in adult social care, children's services, and homelessness. And we are still forecasting a budget deficit of £44 million in 3 years, with our spending forecast to be £549 million. Whilst the Fair Funding Review is positive and it helps, it doesn't cover the growth in demand for social care and homelessness services. This graph shows reductions in grant by the previous government over many years. Meanwhile, costs in social care continue to grow, leaving less for other services. If we view the council's financial position as two cliff edges, the space between them is the budget gap. Fair funding gives us a reprieve by helping us narrow the gap, but it is not enough. We will have to fill the gap with our reserves. Without making savings and carrying on our financial strategy, the gap will continue to increase. As we move through to year 3 and our spending continues to rise due to increased demand in social care and homelessness, the gap widens once more. Remember that our reserves only provide one-off support. Once used up, they are gone. Currently, we have a good level of reserves, but they are falling year on year. And we need to manage pressures, such as a deficit in schools' budget due to rising costs of special educational needs. Reserves can only carry us so far. If they dip too low and our gap keeps growing, this impacts our financial stability. To sum up, while the additional funding from government helps our revenue budget, it does not solve the underlying problem. Without a robust, sustainable budget strategy, the budget gap will continue to widen, leaving our council and the vital services we provide at risk. Finally, a word on the separate pot of capital funding, which we use to invest in city improvements. In 2026/27, capital bids total £81.5 million. This includes £50 million for temporary accommodation acquisitions, investment in our highways, and £3.6 million for routine works like flood prevention and tree planting. Government grants will support £20.7 million of these projects. We are continuing with our budget plan, but the underlying gap means long-term sustainability is still our challenge. Leicester City Council is committed to protecting vital services, managing our finances responsibly, and investing in our city's future. Together, we will navigate the challenges ahead and build a sustainable budget for Leicester.